Hey everyone, welcome. So I just wanted to take a moment to congratulate the winners of my holiday giveaway. It was really important for me to do this holiday giveaway as a way to not only give back to the people that support me in my work, but also as a way to keep you kind of de-stressed, present, and feeling good physically and mentally over the holidays. In this specific portion of the holiday giveaway, I'm going to be sharing with you my top 5 ways we can enjoy the holidays guilt free. So, as being part of the yoga and movement industry for almost 10 years, I notice a consistent theme every time the holidays approach, where a lot of people are expressing guilt and shame over certain foods and alcohol that they've consumed over the holidays. And I want to share some tips that might help you create a little bit more of an awareness around the holidays so that you can actually enjoy all the gatherings, get togethers, and celebrations, feeling guilt free, not feeling bad for what you've eaten, and not moving as a result of punishment for what you've consumed. And that's something that I hear a lot about over the years working in studios. That was always the common theme, the common reason why people would come to practice. So, why not get right into it? So I'm going to be looking at my computer screen here and there if you're wondering why I'm turning my head, just so that I don't miss any points that I've written down. So the number one tip, and these aren't in order for they're not in order for importance to least importance. There's just 5 of them, and you decide which one is more important for you. So the first one is to not participate or fuel kitchen conversations around food guilt. So what I mean by that is when you go to a holiday Christmas party or some kind of celebration in the next little while, try to avoid those conversations where people are talking about how bad they feel for indulging. And I think that we can all resonate with this. I know I have kind of said that before. Oh, I got to go to the gym in the morning and burn this off. That kind of language just kind of fuels the guilt and the shame that we feel around food. And I really do feel like even if we aren't saying those things, just by hearing those things can get into our subconscious and make us kind of feel bad about ourselves. So what I do now, and because I hear these conversations still to this day in the yoga studio, I just kind of zone out, or I'll go somewhere else. So if you're at a party, maybe you go and you put yourself in a different conversation in another room, and you don't have to say anything. You just kind of excuse yourself, and yeah, you don't want to fuel the conversation, so you don't want to participate in these conversations. When I hear people talking about their New Year's resolution diets or how they shouldn't be eating what they're eating while they're eating it and drinking it, I kind of just go off and do my own thing and look for other people that I can communicate with and that I can talk about that doesn't have to do with food shame or guilt. So number one, avoid kitchen conversations around food and alcohol guilt. And then this kind of leads into the second tip that I'm going to give you, which is practice intuitive and mindful eating. Take your time to cook, to sit down and eat, to pay attention to your hunger signals, your full signals, pay attention to your cravings, and give in to those cravings with real food, not the substitute. Because later on, it could lead to binge eating if you're not giving your body what it wants in that moment. And that's something that I've learned in the last 10 years. So it doesn't happen overnight. But really creating a sense of overall mindfulness on your body's cues kind of develops a nice rapport and a little bit of a respect for your body. You start to pay attention, start to listen to what it is that your body really needs from any given moment. So I'm a big believer in giving into cravings with the real thing. So for example, I love chips. Do I eat them every day? No, I don't crave them every day. But I used to do a lot of substitute for chips, like rice chips or any other kind of diet chip. And now I allow myself to have a bowl of real chips until I feel satisfied, until I feel full. And because I satisfy that craving, I don't binge anymore. And yeah, so number two is you want to eat intuitively and mindfully. And if you want to know more about intuitive eating, I am teamed up with a non diet, health at every size dietitian who actually teaches people how to eat intuitively and mindfully and how to build a healthy relationship around food. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. Number three, honor your moment to moment energy and pick movements that make you feel good and not depleted, especially over the holiday season. Don't expect to have the same amount of energy that you might have in an off season when it's not busy. That was a big realization for me that I don't always have to work out hard. And since I allowed myself that freedom, some days I'll work out hard and I'll push myself. Some days I'll do some gentle yoga or relaxation or take a nice light walk. Your body will kind of thank you later on. And you want to have enough sustainable energy where you can actually enjoy the holidays, where you can actually be present and connect with other people, with our loved ones. Holidays are a special time for a lot of people, so you want to be able to not feel depleted and burnt out, especially with all the running around that we're already doing. So honor your moment to moment energy, and I'm really hoping that this recovery yoga practice that I'm giving you will be a great tool for that, and as well as the mindfulness meditation for stress reduction. And I do have an online studio, yoga and movement studio, where I offer a diverse classes. So yoga classes focusing on different themes and body parts, workouts, functional full body HIIT workouts, lifting weights, using resistance bands, little bit of jumping. So with that library, I've wanted to create it as a tool for us to have options to move, especially during the holidays. So for example, maybe one day you have the energy and you want to do a little bit of a HIIT workout, high intensity interval training, and you want to push yourself, but the next day you feel tired and you want to do maybe a more gentle recovery flow. And I really do believe that not only is diverse movement really good for the physical body and the brain and the mind, but when it comes to healthy body image, the more options we have to move, the less obligated we feel to do the same thing over and over again. Movement should make us feel good, not depleted, strong, flexible, mobile, fit, capable, all those other good things. So there is the option to sign up for my online yoga and movement studio for $10 a month, unlimited. New classes always are added. I've been taking a little bit of a break the last couple months, just working on other things, other projects. But starting January, I'm hoping to get back to filming more classes. And suggestions are always open. Number 4, surround yourself with like-minded people who make you feel good for who you are. So this is key. And, the people that have these kitchen conversations around food shame and guilt, it's not intentional. It's it's not like you have a friend who's doing that on purpose and saying those things. It's probably, for the most part, unintentional. It's just kind of been a part of our existence and our culture for so long that it just becomes embedded. And we actually, when people say stuff like that, they probably don't even know that they're saying it. I know I used to say stuff like that all the time, and I wouldn't even think twice about it. It was just kind of second nature. Another big thing is I want you to really work on your media literacy skills. So, in the same token, when you're surrounding yourself with people that fuel you and that make you feel good about who you are, regardless of what size you are or what you look like, um, you know, especially on social media where we can tend to do a lot of comparing and really get caught up in this unrealistic image, unfollow people that make you feel bad about your indulgences over the holidays. You know, um, I studied set point weight range, and the thing is when your body is at its optimal healthiest weight range, you can indulge without your body changing that much. You know, maybe you gain 5 pounds here and there depending on the season, but overall, your body will stay at the same size even if you indulge. I think the problem is that we're not trusting in our bodies, and I think we need to just trust more in the fact that our body's not going to change overnight from a couple indulgences. Especially when Christmas happens once a year, you don't want to miss out. I can say firsthand, I missed out on a lot of fun parties because of fear of calories and weight gain. And I'll give you an example. I just got back from Cuba, and this was the first trip that I took in probably 15 years where I wasn't concerned about weight gain or watching what I ate. I still moved my body, but that's because I wanted to feel good in my body. I didn't want to feel achy, but I chose practices that made me feel good in the moment. But I pretty much ate and drank whatever I wanted, and I didn't binge, and I didn't think about, I wasn't obsessing about food and worrying. And here I am home from vacation 3 days later, 4 days later, and my body has not changed. So, and I didn't come home from vacation going on a diet. Okay. I'm still eating pasta, and I'm still eating the things that I want to eat when I want to eat them. So that's really important, especially this time of year. Diet culture wants to get your hands on you because come January, New Year's resolutions are going to be everywhere. And that leads me into my next tip. Resist the urge to look into a new diet and exercise program with the intention of punishing yourself for what you've eaten and drank over the holidays. So these rash decisions, especially out of guilt and shame, will automatically set you up for failure. I guarantee it. I've been down this road many, many times, and it always fails. 95% of extreme diet and extreme exercise regimes fail after the holiday season. So, for example, if you notice you go to the gym in January and you sign up, it's packed. Can't even get on a machine, have to wait. By mid-February, it's kind of died back down. And that's because we're going from one extreme to the other. So we want to change our mindset from obsession to consistency. And consistency doesn't mean every single day. Consistency is like not an all or nothing mentality, which a lot of us struggle with. I know I did. I was either in or I was out. Now I am consistent. I'm not obsessive. I do move my body a lot, but I teach movement for a living, but I also movement brings me a lot of joy, and that's kind of the thing. Is your movement practice bringing you joy, or is it making you feel unhappy? And this is something I talk a lot in my work. So yeah, resist the urge to panic and get on the next extreme diet, because in the long run, diets actually cause you to gain more weight in the long run. That's why they call it yo-yo dieting, because it's yo-yo weight going up and down. So, I try to encourage people to move in the body that they are in right here, right now. Doesn't matter what size you are, if you have the capability to move your body, that's a true gift. Not a lot of people have the ability to move their bodies, and I look at movement now as a gift and as a way to keep me healthy and to feel good, so that I can do the things, other things that I love in my life. So those are my tips, and if you have any questions, I would love to answer any kind of questions you have. Probably mid-December, I'm going to take these 5 tips and do a live Facebook and a live Instagram, and that will be a great opportunity for you to maybe ask any questions that you might be curious about. Stay tuned. In January, I'm releasing my Move for Joy 30-day challenge, which is all about finding the joy in yoga and diverse movement. So that's it for me, or from me now, and I hope you enjoyed this little video, and I can't wait to connect more with you. And congratulations again, and I hope you enjoy the yoga class and the mindfulness meditation. And if you have any comments or questions, always feel free to get in touch with me. Have a beautiful day, evening, whenever you're watching this video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.